Okay, so here we are. We've got our building section here. We've got our enlarged wall section over here. I'm going to start from the bottom, moving my way up and adding the detail components and the callouts. So right down here at the bottom of the wall, we would see a 2x6 shoe plate. So I need to go to the Annotate tab. And in the Annotate tab, I'm going to add that shoe plate in as a detail component. So in other words, it's going to be a 2D drawing of a 2x6. Then it's not actually going to be a component that is a three-dimensional component within the model. So if we click on this Components tool, it opens up a list of the detail components similar to what we would do if we're creating a window or a door. And if I scroll around, I think you have the same option I do here is Dimension Lumber Section. I want to find the 2x6. If you don't have this list, then you can load it into your project by going into Load Family, Detail Items, Wood and Plastic, Wood Framing, and then Nominal Cut Lumber Section. And then we can load all of these. This is what I did, is I grabbed all of them, highlighted it, and loaded them. Okay? So it is already loaded in mine, and now you know how to load it in yours. So I'm going to go to 2x6 and then hit the space key to rotate that plate until it sits on top of the slab. Then we would also have a 2x6 as a sub-sill for the window. And I'm going to go ahead and assume that we're going to have at least a 2x6 here for header at the tops of the window. And then we're going to need to put two 2x6s here and here for the plates, top plates. I seem to have made a couple extras accidentally. So what that is done is just filled in with detail components what is actually going on construction-wise inside the wall. In the floor system, remember that this floor system is a 2x12 wood finish, so that means it's a 2x12. I would go to Components and find the 2x12 and rotate that with my space bar until I could put it right at the top of the first floor wall. And then we could copy, we can use the copy tool, this component up to the shoe plate for the wall above, and then we would copy that at the roof location, actually the top of the roof. So I want to move that down so that this corner is here, and we want to copy that so that we have the other copy here. And that should leave us enough room here for a 2x4. So I will go back into Components and find the 2x4 and put that in just below. So this is showing me I've got to maybe change the height of my wall on my second floor, the loft space. So let's move that so that I have enough room to put both the detail components in here at the height that they're supposed to be, with the wall being at 13 foot 4.5. So I either have to adjust this head height for this window so that it makes room for these headers, or I have to push this wall height up. So I think I'm going to opt for adjusting the head height. I can't though, because the sill height's at 2 feet, so that means I have to push this wall up, and I'm going to push this wall up so that it matches what I need here. So I'm going to move these two plates up, find out what the difference is here by doing a dimension from there to there. I see I have a 1/2 inch. So that means that I want this to say 13 foot 5. And as soon as I do that, everything adjusts. Notice that the roof goes up and matches, so now I've got everything fitting. The roof would actually need to drop down so that the edge of the roof overlaps this top sill by about 1.5 inches. So I can make an adjustment for my base offset from that by, let's try putting in -6 inches. And that's way too much, so let's try -3. And that looks like that's at least 1.5 inches, if not a little bit more, and that's more like what would happen where the roof would rest on the edge of that top plate. So we've just tweaked and made a few adjustments just by adding these detail components in here. Now once you've added the detail components for the construction parts of the wall, we also want to add insulation. So I'm going to click on the insulation tool, and I'll pick on the midpoint of the mud sill and go up to the midpoint of the subsill of the window. This insulation should fill this cavity completely, so we can select the insulation and change the width of it. Let's make it 5.5 so it matches the width of the wall. And I would repeat that process above. Add insulation from here to here. Select it, make it 5.5 inches. And I also want to fill this area right here. I would fill in between the cavity, and that would be at around 2.5 inches, I believe, instead. Fill that space. Then we would have a little bit of insulation here in this cavity between the two walls. So I'm going to draw that in this way and change that to 11.25. And then we would have insulation in these spaces here. So that fills in where all of our insulation goes. We would also have some insulation going along the bottom edge of this roof here, or the inside the cavity of the roof until it reached the collar tie. And we can illustrate that in this view and just start it in this view here. So we have insulation that would start somewhere around here and go up and be as parallel as we can make it to the roof itself. Let's change that to 7.25, and that would fill that space, and we would most likely have gypsum wallboard on the underside of this roof here. So that would insulate that space. So this is showing where our envelope of insulation would be. Next, we want to just put in our callouts. So our callouts are just listing what do we have for construction components within this detail. So I'd point to this and call that out as a 2x6 mud sill. We'd point to this seam right here and indicate that there would be sill seal here. Let's say what we're using for insulation. So this is 2x6 studs at 24 inches on center spacing with R22 insulation. Now this is the reason this has happened is that I've typed in something that's wider than the annotation area. So I'm going to close that and I'll show you what happened. If we turn on the crop region, I've got that annotation is just going out a little bit too far. So I'm going to make it a little bit smaller and increase my annotation window and then turn off the crop region so that now that appears. This is window and frame beyond. This is our 2x6 top plates. Let's make room here for our header sizes. 2x6 header. 2x12 floor joists. And then we're back to 2x6 shoe plate. Two by 4 header. Two 2x6 top plates. And then we can indicate that we've got 2x8 rafters at 16 inches on center. Probably going to be at least, I would think it would be at least 3/4 sheathing. Otherwise, it kind of gapes in between the rafters. And then we have underlayment and asphalt shingles. There's another one went outside of our view, so we're going to turn on our crop region, bring that up a little bit further, and over. There it is. And we can make some adjustments to where things land here so that we can make room for all these things. There we go. I think that should do it. Turn off our crop region. And this is let's turn it back on again. This is a little bit too high. I want to bring that down, turn off the crop region, get it to fit on the page. So there's our fully annotated, detailed wall section with all of the building components that we have within the wall. And that's our finished product. I would move this over a little bit, and we have a very good start to a set of construction documents with some good annotation.